Hi guys, Everything NFL here, and today I am back with another 2020 NFL draft video. The first round of the draft has happened. It was last night, and I'm now going to go over every single selection and my instant grades I gave as the picks happened. So no messing about, let's get right into it. The obvious one, for the first pick in the 2020 NFL draft, the Cincinnati Bengals selected Joe Burrow, quarterback out of LSU. Instant grade, I give this an A+. Fantastic selection, was the obvious choice all along for the Bengals. They needed a quarterback, and they've got their quarterback. The Ohio kid himself is now the leader of the Cincinnati Bengals franchise for years to come. And number 2, the Washington Redskins. This was another easy selection. They took Chase Young, defensive end out of Ohio State. I also gave this an A+. Fantastic draft pick. Best player in the class, in my opinion, was top of my board. And you can't go wrong here with this pick. Number 3, the Detroit Lions. I thought they were going to trade down here, but they didn't. They sat where they were, and they drafted Jeffrey Okudah out of Ohio State, and I give this an A. He's a solid pick, like I said in many videos before. He is going to be the Darius Slay replacement that Detroit want, and hopefully he will be good, because Detroit don't deserve to suffer for as long as they have. And number 4, this one was also a bit of a shock, but I wasn't really too sure here. The New York Giants selected Andrew Thomas, offensive tackle out of Georgia. I give this a B. I think this is a good pick. He's probably the best left tackle in this class. I think he's going to slide straight in and play. He's definitely better than Nate Solder, because Nate Solder is absolutely terrible. And there was a lot of options on the board. There was Jedrick Wills, Tristan Wirfs, Mekhi Becton. There's probably more I'm missing. But yeah, those were on the board, and they chose Andrew Thomas over them. I can't really complain. I think Andrew Thomas is a fantastic football player. I wouldn't have minded him coming to the Dolphins, but this is good for the Giants nonetheless. And at number 5, my Miami Dolphins selected Tua Tagovailoa, quarterback out of Alabama. This is what I wanted. I give this an A. Fantastic pick. It's what I wanted. It's what all the fans wanted. I'm so glad it happened. I was just so glad that it wasn't Justin Herbert. I'm not saying Justin Herbert is bad, but I wanted Tua, and all the Dolphins fans wanted Tua. I think we made the right decision here. Fantastic quarterback. Dangerously accurate. Got the arm to make all the throws. He makes big plays. Great with his feet. But obviously the injuries are his concern, which is why he's not getting an A+. But Tua is the guy to lead our franchise back to the Super Bowl one day. And number 6, the Los Angeles Chargers selected Justin Herbert, quarterback out of Oregon. I give this a B. I'm not too high on Justin Herbert, as you guys know. I don't rate him as highly as others. I think there's other quarterbacks in this class that are better, obviously. And I think he's going to be the guy to lead the Chargers forward. I don't think he's going to start day one, because they have Tyrod Taylor. I think Tyrod Taylor's going to start. But Justin Herbert, he's got the poise. His release is pretty slow, and he's inconsistent with his accuracy. But overall, he's a young player who returned to college last year. He was supposed to be in the 2019 draft, but he returned to school to go for another year at Oregon. And I think the Chargers made the right decision here. They've got their future quarterback that they think they have anyway, at least. And at number 7, the Carolina Panthers selected Derek Brown, defensive tackle out of Auburn. I give this an A-. He's one of my favourite players in this class. But the thing is with Derek Brown, you don't really know how he's going to play. You think you're either getting the next like Damon Harrison, or you're either just going to get like a really average defensive end, or you're going to get like a beast. He can play anywhere across the defensive line. He can play nose tackle, he can play defensive tackle, he can play 3-4 end. He's very versatile across the defensive line, and will do everything that the Carolina Panthers want him to do. And this was a very interesting one. This is where the intrigue started for me. And number 8, the Arizona Cardinals. I thought they were going to select a tackle here, but they didn't. They selected Isaiah Simmons, linebacker out of Clemson. I gave this an A. I think this is a fantastic pick. I think he's definitely the most versatile player in this class. I think he's now looking at him more. I think he's going to be a bit of a boom or bust prospect. But he can play middle linebacker, he can play safety, he can play corner, he can play defensive end. He can play anywhere you want him to play on the defense, and that's what the Cardinals are going to use him for. Number 9, the Jacksonville Jaguars. I knew CJ Henderson's hype was building up, and I was right. So the Jaguars selected CJ Henderson, defensive back out of Florida, with the 9th pick, and I give this a B+. I think he's a good player. I don't think he's going to be any Jalen Ramsey, which is what they got rid of him. And now they're replacing Jalen Ramsey with CJ Henderson. I don't think he's going to be as good as Jalen Ramsey. But CJ Henderson is going to be good nonetheless. They needed a cornerback, and they've got a cornerback. And that's exactly what CJ Henderson's going to be. He's a lockdown corner. He didn't play too well last year because he knew he was going to be a first rounder. And he went in the top 10, which is surprising. But everyone knew his stock was rising. At number 10, the Cleveland Browns selected Jedrick Wills, offensive tackle out of Alabama. Give this an A, one of the top tackles in my class. And I think this is a fantastic pick now. The Cleveland Browns offensive line is now completely fixed. They could still do with an inside lineman like a guard. But other than that, I think they look phenomenal on the offensive line now. This is going to help Baker Mayfield and Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb was phenomenal last year, and this is just going to help him get even better alongside Baker Mayfield. Should also take a big step in year 3 next year. Number 11, the New York Jets selected Mekhi Becton, offensive tackle out of Louisville. I give this a B+. A failed drug test hurt his stock a bit. I think he possibly could have gone at number 4 to the Giants if that hadn't have happened. He's a huge guy, 6'7", 363 pounds, because he got weighed the other day and he's lost weight. He's keeping himself on weight, which is fantastic. He's an athlete. He's an absolute monster. He'll hold the defensive lines off of his quarterback, and he should be a fantastic servant for Sam Darnold and the New York Jets for years to come. At number 12, the Las Vegas Raiders selected Henry Ruggs III, wide receiver out of Alabama. I gave this a B. Henry Ruggs was my number 3 wide receiver on my board. I know I mocked him to the Jets, but I didn't think the Raiders would take him. But knowing the Raiders, they've always gone for speed. And I think Henry Ruggs could do well in that system. He's going to be the guy that's going to take the top off the defense and a fantastic weapon for Derek Carr and whoever comes in at quarterback. Because if Derek Carr plays bad, Marcus Mariota could step in there, free agency quarterback signing from the Tennessee Titans. He could step in, and yeah, I think it's a fantastic signing. The Raiders have got a second first-round pick, which we will get onto later on. Number 13, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers traded up from 14 to 13 to select Tristan Wirfs, offensive tackle out of Iowa. Got more protection for Tom Brady, which is exactly what they needed to do. And like I said, this Buccaneers offense just keeps getting better and better and better each week. And I think the Buccaneers are getting ready for takeoff in 2020. I think they could be Super Bowl contenders, but they're in a tough division with the Panthers, Falcons, and Saints. So you don't really know how they could do in the NFC South. Moving on, number 14, this was where the Buccaneers traded with the 49ers. The San Francisco 49ers selected Javon Kinlaw, defensive tackle out of Southern Carolina. I gave this a B+. I think this is a fantastic selection. He's going to be the DeForest Buckner replacement. He's young, he's cheaper. This is all-round good move from John Lynch and Shanahan. Overall, that they think Javon Kinlaw could have the potential to be just as good, if not better, than DeForest Buckner one day. But it's interesting. We're going to have to wait and see what happens here, because this is a strange move from the 49ers, who I thought were going to trade down a lot further than only one spot. Number 15, the Denver Broncos got their next weapon at wide receiver. They drafted Jerry Jeudy, wide receiver out of Alabama. Fantastic wide receiver. I give this an A-. I think this is a fantastic one. He's my number 2 wide receiver on my board. And the Broncos offense now looks sick. The offensive line still needs a bit of help, but Drew Lock, Melvin Gordon and Philip Lindsay, Courtland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy, Noah Fant. This offense is starting to take shape. The Denver Broncos could be looking at liftoff in 2020. Now moving on, number 16. In my opinion, this was a bit of a reach, but I'm trying not to make too much of it. It's AJ Terrell, was drafted by the Atlanta Falcons at 16 out of Clemson, defensive back. I gave this a B-. I don't think he should have been taken this high. I think they could have got traded down and got him. And there's another player that's like that on this board that we'll get to later on. But I think the Falcons could have traded down and still got AJ Terrell. So I'm still not really too sure why they did this. They tried to trade up for CJ Henderson, I think, and they also tried to trade up to number 2 to get Chase Young. But everyone wanted Chase Young, and the Redskins said no, and they eventually selected him anyway. At number 17, the Dallas Cowboys selected CeeDee Lamb, wide receiver out of Oklahoma, the best receiver in this class, in my opinion. I give this an A. I think this is fantastic value for the Dallas Cowboys. Now, think about the main 4 on offense for Dallas now. You've got Dak Prescott, Ezekiel Elliott, Amari Cooper, and now CD Lamb. That offense is starting to take less, and Michael Gallup as well. Let's not forget about Michael Gallup. That offense is starting to look really good and take shape. Look out for the Dallas Cowboys in 2020. They could get ready to win some games. Now, moving on to number 18, my Miami Dolphins in our second first-round pick that we got in the Minkah Fitzpatrick trade from the Pittsburgh Steelers. Austin Jackson, offensive tackle out of USC. I give this a B. He's only 20 years old, extremely raw talent. I don't think he's a player that we're going to be able to plug and play immediately. He's going to need time to grow and improve. He's still a bit sloppy, still inconsistent and makes mistakes, but he's young. That's what the rookies are for. They're to learn and get better over time and eventually be a full-time starter for our franchise. And moving at number 19, this is another one I thought was a little bit of a reach now looking back at it. The Las Vegas Raiders selected Damon Arnett, defensive back out of Ohio State. I gave this a C+. I don't think... I've had him rated as a top to mid-second rounder. I didn't think they needed to pick him here at 19 when they could have traded down and still got him. So I'm not really too sure on this. I didn't really do a lot of work looking into Damon Arnett, so I can't really give too much of a judgment here. But he played with Jeffrey Okudah, and he was very good with Jeffrey Okudah, I've heard. And I think for the Raiders, in that cornerback room, they need to add a veteran in there. And I think they could be looking at possibly getting another defensive back on day 2 or day 3. And moving on to number 20, this is pretty much guaranteeing that Yannick Ngakoue is gone from Jacksonville. Jacksonville Jaguars selected K'Lavon Chaisson, outside linebacker out of LSU. I give this a B. I think this is a great pick. 6.5 sacks last season in college on LSU's route to the national championship title. I think K'Lavon Chaisson is going to be a beast for Jacksonville. With him on one side and Josh Allen on the other, that Jacksonville team is looking good. They're going back to their roots. Work from the defense first, and then offense. And I think that is exactly what they needed to do. And I think it's a great pick here for the Jacksonville Jaguars. And at number 21, the Philadelphia Eagles selected Jalen Reagor, wide receiver out of TCU. I gave this a C+. I just still really don't understand how the Eagles were noticing that CD Lamb was falling down the board and they let a division rival in the Dallas Cowboys take him. I honestly don't know how did they not even inquire? I think the Eagles should have inquired with the Falcons to try and move up to 16 to get CD Lamb. Why would you not want to do that? CD Lamb's the best receiver in this class, and now you had to settle for Jalen Reagor just because CD Lamb was taken and you noticed him falling and you didn't do anything about it. I think it is poor management from the Philadelphia Eagles organisation here, and they should have done a lot better here. But on to Jalen Reagor. I think he's a good player. I don't think he's going to be a superstar in the league or one of the best wide receivers in the league at any point of his career, but he's a solid option, and the Eagles are still lacking their true number 1 receiver. That is looking harder and harder and harder for them to find going into 2020. And we have a trade here. The Los Angeles Chargers traded back into the first round at 23, with the New England Patriots surrendering a second-round pick and a third-round pick to move up to 23. And with this pick, they selected Kenneth Murray, inside linebacker out of Oklahoma. I skipped the Minnesota Vikings. Sorry. Minnesota took Justin Jefferson, wide receiver LSU, for 22. B+. Justin Jefferson, one of my favourite players in college. Monstrous season last year in the slot. 40 yards, 15 receiving touchdowns, and something stupid in receptions. And yeah, it was a fantastic pick for the Vikings. I can't believe he fell to them at 22. Now, on to 23. The Los Angeles Chargers traded back up, surrendering a second and a third to New England to select Kenneth Murray, an interior linebacker out of Oklahoma. I give this a B. This is a good option. They fill a void that was left at linebacker. And now I think he's a young option. He's still got a lot to learn, and he's still got a lot of time to develop. But I think he's going to be good nonetheless. And at 24, the New Orleans Saints, I was shocked with this pick. The New Orleans Saints selected Cesar Ruiz, interior offensive lineman out of Michigan. I give this a B-. It's a good pick. We were saying, why are they doing this? They don't necessarily need interior offensive line. But it's Sean Payton. Sean Payton always has a plan for every single player he picks, and he must know what he's doing here. He always knows what he's doing. It's Sean Payton. He's one of the best coaches in the NFL. So he obviously knows what he's doing. And this was a shocker. At 25, the San Francisco 49ers traded up from 31 to 25 with the Minnesota Vikings and selected Brandon Ayuk, wide receiver out of Arizona State. I give this a B-. I think this is a good pick. Second year in a row that an Arizona State wide receiver has been picked in the first round. Last year it was N'Keal Harry, went to the New England Patriots at 32 overall. And I think this is a good selection. They needed a wide receiver. I thought they could possibly have gone for their wide receiver at 14 or 13 and taken CeeDee Lamb or Jerry Jeudy. But it seems like they're content with Brandon Ayuk, who had a good season last year, kind of fell off a bit, but then came back up the draft board. And I think the 49ers are be seriously happy with this selection. At number 26, the Green Bay Packers. This one shocked me to hell. The Miami Dolphins held the 26th pick. We traded it to Green Bay for their number 30 overall and their 4th round pick. And Green Bay selected Jordan Love, quarterback out of Utah State. I give this a B. Instead of going out and getting Aaron Rodgers more weapons, they went out and got Aaron Rodgers' successor. I know Aaron Rodgers took a back step last year, but I still think it's too early to look for a successor. I think he's going to be 37 this year or something, 36, 37 this year. So I think clearly now Jordan Love is the future of that franchise, and they know it. And how much Jordan Love is going to be able to learn from Aaron Rodgers could be amazing, and we could see the next like Patrick Mahomes here with Jordan Love. But it's a gamble that Green Bay are willing to take, and I think if I was a Green Bay fan, I don't know what I'd think here. I think I'd be unhappy. But then I'm kind of on the fence here. And no ill will, but I think this is the worst pick in the first round. The Seattle Seahawks selected Jordan Brooks, linebacker out of Texas Tech. I give this a C-. I didn't really do too much tape on him. I had him at about a bottom of the second round grade on him. It's a typical Seattle pick, really, if you look at it. But I just don't think that he's going to come in and start straight away. But it's like last year, LJ Collier, everyone questioned that, and he didn't do a lot. So people are going to worry about this one as well, because I don't know if Jordan Brooks is going to come in and do a lot. But, we never know. It's Pete Carroll. He's a fantastic coach, and the GM knows what they're doing. So, I don't know. We can't really judge, but I was surprised that he went above Patrick Queen, which then we move on. At 28, the Baltimore Ravens selected Patrick Queen, linebacker out of LSU. I give this a B-. One of my favourite players in college, deserved to play for a fantastic team like Baltimore, and I think he's going to be very, very happy with where he's landed. A very young team that are trying to win championships. He's got that championship mentality from the 2019 season at LSU, and I think he's going to make the most of that, move into Baltimore. And at number 29, the Tennessee Titans selected Isaiah Wilson, offensive tackle out of Georgia. I give this a C+. He's the Jack Conklin replacement, who is now with the Cleveland Browns. I think it's a solid option. It's going to help Ryan Tannehill and Derrick Henry go off next season like they did last year. I think Tennessee are going to do well again, and Isaiah Wilson is a solid option. Raw talent, but will definitely improve and get a lot better. If I pronounce this name wrong, bear with me, because this is a really tough one. And it's for my team as well. And number 30, with the 3rd pick in the draft in the first round, the Miami Dolphins selected Noah Igbinoghene. That's his name. Defensive back out of Auburn, B-. He's very raw. He's a converted wide receiver playing corner. He's probably going to play in a nickel. We could play a lot of nickel packages next year on defense. And I'm not totally against the pick. I didn't have him graded at the bottom of the first round, but I'm not against it. I've got to be optimistic. It's my team. This is our rebuild. I'm trying to be optimistic about everything. And I think he's a good selection. We're just going to call him Noah. I think Noah is a solid pick for the team. And we'll have to wait and see how it turns out, because he's young. He's a raw talent. He's going to take a lot of time. He's the 3rd player that the Dolphins drafted in this first round. Think about it. Tua Tagovailoa, probably not going to play this year. Austin Jackson, probably will play, but not very often. And Noah Igbinoghene will play, but not very often. It's a raw talent. They're going to grow and improve over time, which is we're building for the future, and that's what we are doing. We're getting on to an easier name to pronounce now. At number 31, the Minnesota Vikings selected Jeff Gladney, defensive back out of TCU. I give this a C+. I had a higher grade on Jeff Gladney, quite a while ago. I had him graded at like 19 to the Raiders at one point. That's as high as I've ever had him. He's kind of slipped off my board a bit, and I think this is perfect value for him here at 31. He did fantastic at TCU last year, and I think at Minnesota he's going to fill a void left at cornerback with the departure of Trey Waynes, Mackenzie Alexander, Xavier Rhodes. Near enough, and Mike Hughes is still there. So they've got a very young group on defence. I think Minnesota could struggle on defence this year, well and truly. And for the final pick of the first round of the draft, the Kansas City Chiefs, Super Bowl champions, selected Clyde Edwards-Helaire, running back out of LSU. I give this a B-, one of my favourite players in college last season, and I think he definitely deserved to go in the first round. He's probably, I think he's number 3 running back on my board, actually number 4 behind DeAndre Swift, J.K. Dobbins, Jonathan Taylor, and then Clyde Edwards-Helaire. And those 3 are still available going into day 2, which I will probably be doing a video on tomorrow, which will be my day 2 review. But I'll probably only be doing the second round tomorrow. I'll work my way around to doing the third round eventually, hopefully. But yeah, Clyde Edwards-Helaire gives Mahomes another running back to ease the pressure off him, so all the workload isn't forced onto his arm. And yeah, that's it, guys. And I will be back tomorrow with more 2020 NFL Draft content. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never, ever, ever miss a video. And see you later, guys.